Hey guys, I'm RozaldVaneGAME, and welcome back to another episode of A Case in Distrust. So where we last left off was we basically met up with Mrs. Green, I think, at first, and then we went to Frankie's, and then we went to the barbershop, Stable's barbershop, and Stable wasn't there. Instead, we met the bass player from the bar, or from the speakeasy here, and a Tin Spoon, and we are here at the very Tin Spoon, but everyone got arrested minus the backup singer, which is this lady, who's Ella Smith, and we are investigating Smith right now, so we can figure out some sort of information for what to ask about Ella and about Connor, or not Connor, about what was his name? Carter. There we go. It started with a C, but I keep forgetting his name. Curious about Carter. Did he win that much money? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, she said. I don't know much about anything about that. I don't know anything about that. I nodded and asked about something else. Okay. Can I ask this? It's kind of rude, though. Your parents are Chinese? She sighed. Smith sighed. I don't even know my parents, and I can't speak Chinese. I was raised in the Occidental Board Mission House, the one orphanage that takes Chinese kids, but nobody adopts an Oriental. She said the last word with obvious disgust. Over half the kids my age die as infants. We're the unwanted, I was. She paused and looked down at their feet. I waited for her to continue, but she didn't say anything else. I see. So she might have been left to die at the Oriental. Let's talk about guns. I don't think this is a good information, or there won't be enough information out of this, but there's apparently an information here. Do you know anybody who had a gun that could kill Green? I asked. She looked at me puzzled. I explained to myself. Miss, I'm just a private detective looking into the matter. I need to follow up with everyone. She looked surprised when I said private detective, and she didn't comment on it further. She chuckled at my question. I don't know if you know this, but, well, this place is a type of gangster hideout. No one in the band was shooters, of course. But just about everyone else in the building is carrying something. Huh. So everyone was carrying something. There was no help in narrowing my list of suspects, but I nodded in my understanding. You don't carry a gun yourself? I asked. She shook her head. No, ma'am. No shooters in the band. She seemed adamant on that part. Okay. Fair. That could be something I can ask about with Mrs. Green, maybe. But Mrs. Green disappeared at the night, which is going to be something I need to ask her about. Died at the midnight. We already asked this, I believe. Has found close to the tin. I think I felt like I asked this question, but I'm pretty sure I asked about the midnight thing. What's up there entire night sign? Okay, that's fine. I just want to see if there was any new evidence or new sayings of it. Is there any other evidence? Paul wasn't here. Yeah, where's Paul, actually? Where's Tiny Paul, I asked. I need to see him. Paul's likely as tired as I am. After the band finished downstairs, we all came up to play poker. Paul and the boys were at it the entire night, so I assumed he's at home. I asked if she knew where Paul's home was, but she shook her head. No, Paul and I aren't close. Yeah, I don't have anything I can contradict about the relationship between her and Paul, but I feel like they have something for each other, I feel like. But cards on the table, I guess? Those cards you're fiddling with, I said, are they the same ones that the boys were playing with last night? She said they were. Okay, fair. Alright, one more thing I need to probably ask her is probably from her own statement. Yeah, let's ask about Fanny. I tried to ask her a bit about the but nothing came out of it. Okay, I'll leave for now. I'm gonna go to Mrs. Green because I think Fanny is Mrs. Green. The room was much smaller than I had expected for a gangster's paradise. The only light came from the hanging lamp. Okay, let's get out. Yeah, so I think we need to go talk to Mrs. Green to see, because we got a contradiction now at this point. Excuse me, but I don't think I'm going to reread that because that's probably the same thing. I gave my address and slush in the thing. Journey, my way to pass the journey, might be chatting with the thing. The driver asked if I'd heard the new radio program, WLS Showboat. When I said I hadn't, he launched into a praise about the floating palace of wonder. You see, there's this captain and his first and second mates, right? They go around sailing all the rivers of the U.S. Of course, they're terrible at running the ship, doing things like... He broke his sentence with a chuckle. Hanging laundry on the paddle wheel. Can you imagine? He let out a bellied laugh. Well, anyway, they also play music from the different places. Twangs from the south, trumpets from Chicago, and they run it weekly. How about that? How about that? I replied. And I stepped out of the taxi cab at my destination. I left my driver still laughing to himself. That was a weird one. Right. I rapped my knuckle in on the door, and Mrs. Green showed me inside. Speak, speak, speak. Speak, speak, speak. Miss Malone? Miss Malone, have you found anything about my husband's killer? She asked in her chair. I mumbled a greeting and sat down beside her. Alright, so there's a statement that... from Ella that Fanny wasn't in the pool hall, and I think this is related to her. One of the backing singers claims you left the upstairs room before midnight, I said from the notes. That's not true, she said defiantly. I was there the entire evening. She seemed quite sure, Mrs. Green. She sang on to the drunken boys without you there. But I asked our doorman, Miss Malone. He says nobody left the upstairs room. Oh wait, no, that's not. Oh no, yeah, it is her saying to our character. You're doing your own digging? I asked. She blushed. I just have no confidence in the police. Anyhow, if nobody came from the upstairs, that eliminates anyone in the pool room. I must have been in the restroom. If Ella is certain I wasn't with them at that exact time, because I could not have been outside. I don't think I can contradict that yet. She had a point. I moved on to further questions. Yeah, right now the point is that we know that Mrs. Green disappeared before midnight. But the doorman said that she didn't disappear. Nobody walked past that doorway. But I think I have a statement where yeah, he did say nobody passed through the entrance hall around the time Green has been murdered. Yeah, so nobody really did pass the entrance. Oh. Okay, I can ask that again. I think I might contradict that with that statement because Fred said something about it. Okay, let's do this again. One of the backing singer, yada yada yada. I already read that. I think I want to contradict it with the one that Grant mentioned. Grant said something about like no one passing around the time. Passing through the billiards room entrance. Okay, never mind. It doesn't work. Okay. Well, my brain was just reading it as like they didn't pass through the billiards entrance, but let me ask about the guns. I'm curious if she knows anything about that. Most Tin Spoon patrons have guns. Do they not, Mrs. Green? Yes, Miss Malone, but nobody in the band carries shooters and the gangster... Wait, is this her speaking? I think they forgot the quotes on this. Yes, Mrs. Malone, but nobody in the band carries shooters and gangsters keep close eye on their guns. Okay. What other questions do I have? I mean, I got some stuff from Carter as well. Did he win a lot of poker money? I got next to nothing. Okay. Statements. I don't think there's any statements I can really use here. Maybe? I guess? Let's try asking about Paul not being there. Okay, so there's nothing to it. Okay, cool. Let's get out of here then. Yeah, she has nothing much beyond the denial of, like, her not being there in that particular space. Now, let's go to Carter. I want to reaffirm all three suspects here. Carter, Fanny, or Mrs. Green, and Smith. I want to reconfirm all three people to see if all the clues line up to what they're saying to each other, to make sure to kind of, like, get a hold of everything, I guess. I love this job, he told me as he turned the corner of Polk and Bush streets. I used to work in a plant across the bay with my two brothers. You know how boring that gets? Bang this, push that. What a life. We weren't made for factories. Sure, they paid more. They're part of a union. They have good pensions, but they can't beat this, he said, revving up his engine. Such freedom. We spoke about his love of his open road, and so we reached our destination. My destination. Alright, back into this. Talking to you, Carter. Welcome me back, Carter. He smiled at me. I wasn't so sure he was happy to see me, or just happy to talk to somebody. Alright. Yeah, I want to ask him about Fanny disappearing. Ella Smith tells me little Fanny wasn't in the billiards room at midnight, I put to him. I remember being there at the beginning and end of the night, but I cannot keep track of everyone at every time. If Ella seems sure, I have no reason to doubt her. Okay. I have no reason to doubt her. I want to see what he says about the winning a lot of money. I tried asking Carter about something he had already said. He rambled a while, but he didn't give me anything new. Okay. I don't even know what to say. Maybe the patrons? Nothing. Yeah, he has nothing to say about it. Smith is Chinese. Let's see. The worst to ask him. I'm sorry, miss. He said, I know nothing about that. Okay. Paul wasn't there, I guess, maybe? No, he has nothing either. Ugh. This is hard, really, because it's not much. Oh, cards on the table. How much did you win last night? I asked him. On a heap, he grinned. On a heap of it. A heap of it. He grinned. And how many aces did it take you to get there? Oh, we did kind of see the cards, the last cards that they got left behind on. His face showed genuine surprise. You know, that Tiny Paul is a mean-spirited, no good, black-hating son of a gun, he said. He pays us pennies, but wants us to be good and smile for him. Well, I'm not having that, miss. No, I am not having that at all. Yes, I took him in for a ride, and I feel no remorse for it. In some ways, it is all part of the game. I said that it was alright, but Tiny Paul might see it differently. Oh, come now. You would tell him you wouldn't tell him, would you? He pleaded. Oh, because he cheated. He cheated his way to getting it. I might have to, I said. Now listen, you do not want to do that, he growled. Go on, and leave good enough alone. Yes, just leave be. I just nodded back and he sighed. You know, he continued, I bet I had no reason to cheat last night. Not with the way Ellie kept distracting him. Yes, he was very distracted indeed. I railed a questioning brow. Ella Smith and Tiny Paul had something going on? That girl throws herself onto him like she'd throw water on a fire. I noted that, then changed my subject on the changed our subject of conversation. Interesting. So she is very into Paul. So that would help us get a clue on how to get to Paul quickly, I guess. Huh. Got others watching green. Can I ask about Tiny Paul's green cash thing? No. I know there's an achievement to do with talking to Carter and then getting him to talking about the capital or something like that. Because the achievement's called That Capital or something like that. I want to try to get some achievements because I kind of feel like they're pretty straightforward achievements usually. Sometimes they're not. Which is fine, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything. Yeah, I don't have anything right now. I guess I'll just stop there for now. Leave him be, I guess. Alright. I'm going to get out of here then, shall we? Let's get back to the Tin Spoon Lounge because that will probably open up our clue of how to get Ella to tell us where the hell Tiny Paul disappeared to or where his place is at. Or at least get some kind of clue, I guess. I hailed the driver, gave him the address, stepped back to the door, and yada yada yada. I started a conversation with the driver. A young man was a former journalist in Tennessee. Trying to change the place with my reports, he said with a slight twang. Left as soon as I saw that that'd be impossible. What changed? What change did you have in mind? I asked. Well, he cleared his throat. I was a staunch believer in democracy, but my old state's got this lawman, John Butler, that sells snake oil as far as I'm concerned. He wants to outlaw teaching evolution to children. Oh, it's this argument. I remember this. Yeah, because John Butler was like a religious type statesman, but he technically wasn't relying on being a statesman, relying more on religion to take over the state laws. And I think that was a very controversial thing because you shouldn't be using your religion because it defeats the purpose of the Constitution of freedom to religion because of the fact that you're forcing other people to believe in your beliefs, and that kind of ties into that a little bit. It was an interesting thought process. I think I remember it from that particular case where they were saying that evolution was not supposedly taught, shouldn't be taught because of religious reasons. I tried to fight it to show the people as he was insane, but it seems like his law will pass. How does this calm man know more than a scientist? That's just one example, but that's damn tyranny of the 51%. Yeah, I mean, it could be easily corrupted, but that's only because the laws weren't in place to defend democracy the way it used to, or the way that it should be. But I mean, every couple of years we should be reevaluating the laws to prevent problems because, you know, things can change and you never know, and it could jeopardize that belief of voting. Yeah, I'll agree with him, I guess. Democracy is only as smart as the people voting. Sometimes it seems we're all swayed by the loudest talker. Sometimes, the driver snorted. Seems if a man says black is white and he says it with enough gusto, the people will vote to make it so. The public can be a dangerous weapon if you know how to use them. The taxi pulled up to our destination. This cab is a dictatorship, and I say you've got to get out now, so I can grab another customer. He winked, and I exited. He said that as a joke, that his taxi is a dictatorship. I walked up the stairs, billiards room, only light came from the hanging lights, yada yada yada. Let's talk, Ella. I got some clues. Alright, where is Tiny Paul is the question here. Paul wasn't here, and I can contradict her from there. I think. Paul and I aren't that close. Contradict. With statement of what Ray said. That's not what Ray Carter says, I posed to her. She stammered a little. Why did you lie to me, Miss Smith? Smith squinted at me hotly, then let out a sigh. Okay, he's right, she blurted. I'm in love with Paul. That's no crime. It was obvious she wanted to hide the relationship. If the two of them ever broke it off, her career would be doomed. I empathized with her. The heart never plays fair. This won't get out of my account, I promise, but you have to tell me Tiny Paul's whereabouts. She sighed and gave me the address of a Pacific Heights apartment building. He lives in a penthouse on the top floor. Just don't tell him I've told you. I thanked her for Paul's address and changed the subject. Alright, so that gives us a tip and a clue of where the hell Paul went. It's funny because we can kind of tell Paul about both of these people that worked for him. It's basically saying we can be evil and hurt the both of them, but that's like really tough for whatever it is. I don't think I have any more notes on top of that. Smith is in love with Paul. Tiny Paul had a city apartment. Excuse me. Alright, let's chase after Stable, though. I'm kind of curious about Stable, because I think we're done here at the very least. We don't have much clues on anyone at this moment after talking to these three individuals of locations. Alright, cool. Racetrack or the apartment? I will do the Racetrack. Stable was at the Tanforan Racetrack near San Bruno. I could race over there to talk with him. I could race over there. I could ride over there. I could race over there. Who am I racing? No one. Just myself. Alright, talk to the taxi dude again. Or... It's interesting because there's no taxi lady. I just realized that. That kind of sucks. Went to the Palace of Fine Arts, that driver said when I asked about his weekend. They were holding a guest gallery. A girl is a big Georgia O'Keeffe fan. Myself, I don't get all that new stuff. That's what's so hard about painting some wavy lines. For the rest of the trip, we spoke about the other artwork that had been on display. Pieces of Charles Sheeler, Louis Lozowick, Edward Steichen, and many more. I was sad to have missed it, but when we stopped at our destination, I left my envy in the taxicab and refocused on the case at hand. Oh, this is a really cool place. The Tanforan Racetrack had reopened the previous year with the help of millionaire Adolf Spreckles and some associates, one of whom was Stable. Today, no races were ongoing, and the sister sides of the empty grounds and the grandstands were impressive. I hope the locked turnstile and the wander the grandstands and some of the grounds. But all my searching turned up nothing, and nobody, not even Stable. I returned nearer the entrance to search for more clues. Oh, so there's nobody here. The heck? Maybe we might find a dead body somewhere. That'd be impressive. A wooden slat boarded the window to the old betting house. The Walker Otis measure of 1909 prohibited gambling on horses, which meant more racetracks shuttered, including the Tanforan. But Stable and a few other investors reopened the track the previous year, claiming to operate without taking bets. Give me a quick second. I need to check something, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, sorry about that. Okay, let's check up the other objects, I guess. Empty boxes were thrown next to the old betting house. I spent some time rummaging through them, but found nothing of interest. Okay. I removed the trash bin's lid to let my hands play with something while my thoughts had time to form. But peering in, I saw the largest break in the case thus far. An automatic pistol, .45 caliber, was right on top of the pile. I reached in to get a closer look. Oh? The hell was that? Really? Stable just shows up in the back of us? A throat cleared behind me. I pocketed the weapon quickly, then turned around to Stable's smug grin. Have you come to watch the horses? He asked. Rumors say that running through fire will be the victor. Though, at times it can be dangerous to put stock in rumors. Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah, I went to the barbershop, but he wasn't there. Ray Carter told me something interesting. I put to him. He says you got a wire from somebody and rushed out, leaving him mid-trim. For the first time, I saw Stable frown. Well, business and pleasure sometimes mix, Miss Malone. Yes, I was telephoned for a maintenance issue, but that's now all sorted. Huh. Interesting. Is there anything from his barbershop that I need to worry about? I don't think that was the... I think that was the only thing. Stable ran to his racetrack? Maybe? I again asked about the thing. Suspicious behavior, leaving Carter mid-trim. Okay, that's not really making a difference, I don't think. I want to ask him where he was at last night, midnight. I told him that Connor Green was found near the Tin Spoon, the coroner reporting his time of death around midnight. That is a late hour. That is a late hour, Staples said. Miss Malone, am I always fast asleep in my bed at that time of the night? I am always fast asleep in my bed at that time of the night. So nobody was there with you? No, I was alone. In response to my raised eyebrow, he continued, I would never lie to you, Miss Malone. Of course, it would be just as difficult for you to disprove my story as it would be for me to prove it. And we live in a civilized nation that requires your proof, not mine. Huh. Stable might have had the opportunity to kill Green, but I have to first place him concretely. I assure you, he said, I was at home asleep at the time. Yeah, I don't want to contradict yet. I let the statement slide just then and asked about other things. Let me ask him about the gun, I guess. Green was shot last night, I told him. Any chance you know the piece that plugged him? Miss Malone, he said, I am not the sort to be associated in any way with a pistol. Okay. Well, I have nothing yet. There's nothing concrete about what kind of pistol he was using. Okay, so we got evidence from the thing. We didn't get much to examine in the stables yet. The boxes? A betting house. I asked him about something in the... Okay, so that doesn't really make a difference. I don't want to ask him about the gun. It kind of gives away, like, our hand, basically. Maybe ask about the letter. Give him the assurance that the letter was fake. Shipman tells me Green's letter is a forgery, I said to Stable. He grinned wide. Yes, Miss Malone, that I told you. The Stable still refused to admit knowledge of the note. Okay, that really didn't do much, I guess. Yeah, there's really not a lot to go on for this guy. Yeah, there's not much I can go beyond that point, I guess. Fine, I'll just ask him for the frickin' thing. I found an automatic in your trash bin. This .45 is a gangster caliber. What are the chances it's the same one that killed Green? Stable frowned again. I was beginning to like his frowns. So it seems to me, I continued, that your boys found the murder weapon in the crash, then called you around to see what to do about it? Yes, he admitted. I was telephoned to look at the weapon. We were about to phone the police about it when I noticed you wandering the grounds. Why were you interested in the Green case, and why is it this gun here? He sighed. Do you remember, Miss Malone, that Connor Green had already attempted to frame me? Once I had learned of his death, I thought that whomever had killed him would also try to blame me. I involved Carter for a trim in exchange for information about the murder, and I told my associates to watch for anything suspicious at the racetrack. As soon as the gun was found, they telephoned me, and here we are. So you still won't admit to the murder? I pushed him. Think what you want, Miss Malone, but I had no reason to kill Connor Green. And if you think otherwise, you are just playing into the game set up by the real killer. That was the story Stable was sticking with. Still, I much further along than I had been. And that gave me reason to smile. Okay, so I don't need to accuse him because he is calling out the fact that he is a red herring. And I trust that he was supposedly a red herring because even if Connor has pointed out that he was the one that killed or that was wanting to kill him, I don't think it's true that he would have. I don't think that Stable would want to kill him anyways to begin with. So I first snuck into the racetrack by jumping in the locked turnstile, which had been easy enough. I could leave the same way. Alright, so we're done with that talk with Stable. But sadly, I want to end it here because I want to save the next location, which is Tiny Paul's apartment, to be our final point of looking through our investigation for the time being. I may need to figure out what other things I need to put onto the table for Carter and Ella to kind of talk about, but I think I need Tiny Paul to kind of reaffirm a lot of things in order to make sure that we are truly on the right place of the case. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, for joining me here for this another episode of A Case of Distrust. Next episode, we'll go ahead and go talk to Tiny Paul at his apartment and explore what he has to say about anything within this case. So far, I'm enjoying the whole mystery aspect of it, and I like the vibes and the history that it's trying to dive into about the 1920s, and that's really awesome. I think there's very little games that usually explore the 1920s. A lot of the games usually like the World War II setting or the aftermaths or a little bit of the build up to that kind of thing, but in this case it's like literally just the 1920s, so it's really interesting. I mean, I know Mafia, the game Mafia, kind of carries that 1920s thing going, which I yet to buy, the first Mafia game, which got remastered and everything, but otherwise, that's pretty much it for this episode. So thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next episode of Nobody Minds, and hope you guys have a great, amazing day, weekend, night, or when you're watching this. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Roz, out.